You're listening to Cosmic Cousins Soul-Centered Astrology for grounding your ass from all the New Age sass. I am your host, Jeff Henshaw. Season 6 of Cosmic Cousins is a bi-monthly astrology offering released every new and full moon, and it's dedicated to honoring the interconnectedness of our universal family through embodied health, self-discovery, and deeper learning. Hey Cosmic Cousins, I am sitting here in the East Village of New York City right now. I'm staying at my friend Robbie's apartment. I'm back in New York City for 2 months, and it has been an incredible return home. Definitely feeling the Virgo season stellium sextile to the Cancer North Node feels right now as I come back to this place that feels like home. I've got my tarot cards out here for Pisces and Virgo. We'll talk about those today. And while I've been here in New York, I actually went to Ann Ortley's class. Ann Ortley, the host of Weekly Weather, who is a Virgo, and it was her birthday, so it was cool to be at her class. And yeah, so I'm here in New York City. I spent 18 months in Los Angeles, 9 months in Hawaii, and I decided to come back home, Cancer North Node, to see if I would like to move back here. And so this is kind of a huge full circle moment that many of us might be feeling right now. Huge, grand karmic closeouts is the Pisces Moon. So Virgo season, it kicks us off into the new school year, right? Many of us find ourselves back to our crafts, back to our routines, carving out space to be immersed in our devotions, our devotion to our health, our devotion to our offerings. And then, of course, we know we always are gifted the cosmic dance of the polarities. So underneath all of the detail-oriented task, the very Virgo to-do list, the Pisces Full Moon beckons us to connect with our spirituality, with God, our guides, to reflect, to let go of control. So massive cycles coming to a karmic closeout here on the Pisces Full Moon. So we will be reflecting on the Pisces Full Moon magic on this episode. So we're going to explore this sacred Virgo-Pisces polarity. Again, we're going to connect with the tarot cards associated with these mutable earth water signs. So I'll go ahead and share with you the tarot cards so that if you work with the tarot, you can go ahead and get those cards out and allow them to act as these wonderful tools for eliciting your own intuition when I talk about these energies of Virgo and Pisces. And so the cards you can use for Virgo: Page and Queen of Pentacles, Mutable Earth. The Hermit is what I like to call the soul growth card. And then the Magician represents Mercury. If you'd like to work with the esoteric planet for Virgo, it's the Moon, which would be the High Priestess. So those are our Virgo cards. And then we have Pisces, the Pisces Full Moon. So instead of the Page and Queen of Pentacles, we have the Page and Queen of Cups. Okay, we're getting into the water here. And then the soul growth card for Pisces is the Moon. Karmic cycles, right? We'll talk about that today. And then the ruling planet for Pisces is Neptune, which is the Hanged Man. So we're all hanging upside down, getting a new perspective at this time. If you want to work with the esoteric ruling planet, which I'll touch base on today for Pisces, is Pluto, the planet of deep psychological healing and transformation, which would be the Judgment card. And so here on season 6 of the show, I'm releasing an episode on the new and full moons. And I'll also be talking about the tarot cards too. So we're getting a little bit witchier here, season 6, as the sirens in the background go off. You'll probably start hearing that a little bit more now that I'm back in New York. So yeah, also in this episode, we're going to honor our Queen of Virgo, Beyonce Knowles, and our Queen of Pisces, Nina Simone, by looking at their birth charts. We'll look at both of their birth charts today. And then to round out this episode, we're also going to take a deep collective bow of remembrance to the Twin Towers, the World Trade Centers, as it's the 18th anniversary of 9/11. Today, when I'm recording this, September 11th, 2018. And so it's our 2019, it's the 18th year anniversary. And so it's a jam-packed episode for you this week, as always. What an honor it is to be here for you and with you on your astrology journey and beyond. And so if you're able, you can start by bringing your awareness to your body and your breath as we transition into a meditation for embodied health. Start by bringing your awareness to your digestive system. You can place your hands here on the belly. And so the digestion is the part of the body connected to Virgo. And here on this podcast on Cosmic Cousins, we will always carve out time to bring awareness to the body. So as you breathe into the digestion, notice where you might be holding tension in this part of the body. And so with each inhale, send love to the digestion, create new space with the breath, and release any thoughts or emotions that you might store here that don't feel supportive. So the digestion works really hard for you. It's processing and assimilating, it's organizing, right? It provides for you nutrients. So it's a very intuitive part of the body. Your relationship to your gut, to your digestion, will help to deepen your own intuitive relationship to the energy of Virgo. And so you've been working really hard over the past couple weeks as we've been in Virgo season. Maybe you've been spinning your wheels. Maybe you've been worrying, thinking a lot, coming up with new ideas. I'm keeping busy, right? It's like the squirrels gathering acorn as we go into the autumn here on the Northern Hemisphere. And so whatever it is that you've been working through, moving through over Virgo season, send love to these parts of yourself. And even if just for now, just for this moment in this meditation, allow yourself to relax. Allow the jaw to unclench, the forehead to soften. So honoring your gut health, honoring your gut instincts, your digestion. You can say to yourself, my digestion is happy. My digestion is healthy. My digestion is whole. Happy, healthy, whole. Breathing that into the gut. And now we will expand out to connecting to Pisces energy. So Pisces rules over both the feet and the water in the body. So take a deep breath into the feet. For me, I just got a pedicure. I like to do that whenever there's a Pisces moon. So honor your feet. And also honor the water in your body. So taking a bath, drinking lots of water will be really important for you this week. Your body uses water in all of its cells, its organs, its tissues to help regulate its temperature and maintain other bodily functions. So tuning into the water in your body, take a deep, nourishing inhale. And just simply notice where you might be holding tension. Can you offer a blessing to the water in your body? And so our body loses water when we sweat. And it's interesting when we think about this Virgo-Pisces polarity. Virgo rules over health. And so sickness can often occur when we're moving through Virgo transits. Same with Pisces. Pisces is the water that we sweat when we're sick. Virgo is health. Our body also loses water when we digest. So it's important to rehydrate at this time, especially on the Pisces full moon. Drinking lots of fluid, eating foods that contain water. So what is the connection between the digestion and the water in your body? Allow this to be an intuitive experience for you. This Pisces full moon invites us into a much more big picture flowing energy. Virgo can be caught up in the day-to-day small detail-oriented tasks that Pisces is here to remind us to feel into, to reflect, to flow, to let go, to find the sacredness, the spirituality in this human experience. So Pisces connects us to our guides, the spirit realm. Pisces connects us to our previous incarnations, our previous lifetimes. So now open yourself up to this loving flow of universal compassion of Pisces. Can you sense spirits with you? This is helping us feel into the undercurrent of the Pisces moon. So let's bring it back to Virgo. Virgo energy is connected to our routines, our details, the errands that we run on a day-to-day basis, our day-to-day tasks, like brushing our teeth, walking the dog, making up our bed. This is all the territory that Virgo rules over. And it's part of our lives that we get more in touch with during Virgo season. Pisces energy, the polar sign, however, is the unraveling of this. It's the mystery, the unknown, spirituality. So call to mind a daily task that you encounter. What's something small that you do every day? What sort of routines do you find yourself in? Maybe it could even be related to your work. And so for me right now, what's coming to me is actually connecting me to producing and recording this podcast, this very act that I'm doing right now, and all of the details I put in, all the notes I take to get it all in order. And so what small tasks do you do at work? What small tasks do you do every day? So call to mind that daily task. Maybe it's making yourself lunch. Maybe it's washing the dishes. Maybe it's driving to work. Find that daily routine and just simply observe yourself going through the motions. Notice your body and this task. Breathe into the body. Allow yourself to soften and send love to any part of the body that might be holding tension because of this daily task. And just simply notice your mind during this task and breathe into the mind. Allow yourself to soften and send love to any part of the mind that may be holding on to anxiety or worry or tension because of this daily task. The Pisces full moon is here to remind us of the spirit world, of other realms of consciousness. And so we'll first start with your loved ones. Anyone you know, anyone you have loved here on this earth plane in this lifetime who has passed away from this earthly realm, can you sense their presence with you as you go through this daily task? Allow images to come to you, maybe colors or sounds or shapes, maybe even memories. Allow it to be intuitive and flow. And so right now I'm sensing the presence of my grandparents. And so continue to come back to the daily task. Maybe you move from brushing your teeth to washing the dishes. Whatever daily task you find yourself encountering, just allow it to move and flow. And so continue to come back to this task. And now we'll expand out from your loved ones to your teachers and guides. And so maybe the image of a particular teacher or a guide comes to mind. Maybe it's in the form of an animal. Maybe it's in the form of someone legendary. And so, like right now for me, Queen of Pisces herself, Nina Simone, is making herself present as we go into this Pisces moon territory. So your teacher, your guide, it can be a religious or philosophical figure. Maybe it is also an imaginary figure. Maybe it's an angel. Really allow yourself to connect to it. Just allow whatever image comes to you to be exactly what you're meant to see and feel in this moment. And so feel the support from your loved ones, and now feel the support from your teacher or your guide as you follow yourself through these daily tasks. Notice what sort of shift it might make to your daily tasks to feel the presence of the spirit world. And now finally we'll transition to the third tier, which is godlike consciousness. And so connect to the energy vibration of the highest octave of universal compassion. For me, I'm feeling the presence of God. I'm feeling the presence of Source. It's a very loving vibration of the universe. And so whatever that is for you, allow that to come in any shapes, colors, smells, and breathe all of that in as you watch yourself move through your daily work routines or errands. And just be open to whatever insights want to flow through at this time. Notice how when you infuse this very Virgo-like energy with Pisces, we allow ourselves to expand. So here on this Pisces full moon, we're gifted a sweet opportunity to infuse our daily habits with a connection to something higher, greater, more spiritual. And so breathe all of that in. And as you exhale, gift yourself the permission to let go and surrender, to relax your body from all of your hardworking devotion. Deep, full, complete exhale. Thank you as always for being here, Cosmic Cousins. It's an honor to hold space for you. We have an exciting episode today. And so this Pisces full moon, it offers us a wide contemplative lens. It is a time to reflect. It is a time of great clarity for your spiritual journey. And one way that I enjoy doing this is by looking at the 3-year cycle of the moon. And so this allows you to track your growth and your evolution. So this is exactly what I've been working on this week. I've been journaling about this 3-year cycle. And so the way I like to do it, especially when working with Pisces, is through stream of consciousness journaling. And so the dates of this 3-year cycle, I'll go over them with you. And as I share these dates with you, explore these time periods and notice what patterns and themes might have been reoccurring for you. And so what we do is we start with the Pisces New Moon. So the Pisces New Moon that we're working with here was March 17th, 2018. What was going on for you March 17th, 2018? The new moon, Pisces New Moon. This is a year and a half ago. This is a time of planting seeds of new beginnings. And for me, this is the first new moon of when I lived in Los Angeles. When I moved to Los Angeles, I just moved there from Hawaii. New beginnings, right? The next phase of the moon will be the first quarter Pisces moon. And so this will be 9 months later. This is December 16th, 2018. The moon was in the first quarter phase in Pisces. The first quarter moon, this is when new structures are formed. This can be growing pains. And so if we're talking about the life of a seed, new moon is a seed planted. First quarter moon is when the limbs start to grow. It's already out of the soil. The branches are starting to grow. And so it is a time of structure, right? So December 16th, 2018, what was going on for you then? For me, this is actually interesting because even though I had moved to LA, this first quarter moon phase, I found myself back in New York City where I hosted a podcast episode live. And I also got a car and then moved it back to the West Coast. And so now we find ourselves September 14th is the full moon, which is this Saturday early morning, and we got Friday the 13th coming up. So Friday the 13th, we're really going to feel into this full moon energy. But the full moon is when the part of this growing cycle that the flower emerges. So this is a time of clarity. This is a time of perspective. It's also a time of beauty, and it's representing the halfway point of this 3-year cycle. And then the next 9 months will take us to the Pisces Last Quarter Moon, which is June 12th, 2020. We'll check back in June 12th, 2020 about this Pisces full moon cycle. And so the last quarter moon is the harvest. It's where we're starting to tear down old structures. And then this cycle will end on March 13th, 2021, back at the Pisces New Moon. And so it represents a 3-year cycle. And so the new moon here at the end of a cycle is completion. It's deep release. And so for me, this is part of my practice. I'll do this. I don't do this with all the moon phases, but something about Pisces really makes me want to reflect on the bigger cycles. So I tend to do it during the Pisces moons. So for me, I've written these dates down, and I'm going to track my progress and see what comes up. And so for me, already being back here in New York City, I'm feeling right at home because there's been many magical Pisces-like synchronicities. One of the things that happened for me, we were talking about how Pisces rules over the feet. I broke my big toe probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I broke my big toe, and this was the beginning of me being a tarot teacher and also an astrologer. So before that, I had a dog walking company, and I probably walked like 5 or 6 hours a day. And so when I broke my big toe, it was a very hangman moment. By the way, Pisces, ruled by Neptune, is the hanged man in the tarot, right? It's this very hangman moment in which I couldn't walk the dogs anymore. And so this was a time of deep release and surrender to the new cycle, to the new evolution of what was coming. And so that was that extra push that I needed to really put myself out there in the world as a teacher. And so what was interesting is when I landed down here in New York City under the Scorpio moon, Pisces rising, because it was sunset time, Virgo season, with the Pisces rising, Scorpio moon. This is my news cycle here in New York City. I started getting shooting pains in my big toe, the same toe that I broke. And it was quite bizarre. The first night I was here, I was like still walking on it. It was fine. But when I woke up in the morning, my big toe was swollen, and I couldn't walk for my first 2 days here back in New York. And so I was forced to sit down. I like hobbled over to one of my favorite coffee shops, and I just wrote. I journaled. I journaled about Hawaii. I journaled about Los Angeles, and there was nothing else for me to do but to just simply be with the experience. This is part of Pisces energy. So particularly for me, it's related to the foot. After those 2 days of just sitting, literally I went and got dinner, and after dinner, my toe was back to normal. It was like it never even happened. So gift yourself time to really slow down, to be in the unknown, to process, to digest, to reflect. And so listen and watch out for clues from spirit this week, particularly through your body, particularly in your dreams. Also, pay attention to what you're hearing. For me, now that I can walk again, I've been walking through the city, and I've just been listening to what people said. And so here are some of the things I wrote down that I heard people say, which feels very Virgo. All of these are very Virgo. So one person said, I had the worst stomach pain of my life. A lot of stomach stuff happening this week. Someone else just said, I just packed my lunch today for the first time. They were on the phone. They said, I just packed my lunch today for the first time, and I'm going to start getting into that routine. So people are like getting into routines this time. I heard someone else talking about their stomach, and they said, the pain in my stomach is excruciating. So for me, I know my body has been aching this week, and it might be because I'm sleeping on a futon right now. But I do know quite a few people have gotten sick this week or have some body stuff going on. Virgo season is a time to realign us with our health, the health of our body, our mind, and our spirit. And the Pisces polarity is reminding us to check back into the deeper spiritual side of this, to let go, to surrender. So if you find yourself sick this week, or if you're just moving through something where you might feel stuck, know that there is a deep release and a realignment happening at this time. And it doesn't have to be all this like serious, darker spiritual stuff. So I have a quote from Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is a Pisces sun, Pisces moon, giving us some of this Pisces energy that we're longing for. And so this is a quote from him. He says, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. So we have this polarity between work and play here in Virgo and Pisces. Mr. Rogers really gives us the Page of Cups feel of Pisces. The Page of Cups is looking into his chalice, and there's a fish coming out, and it makes me think of Mr. Rogers with his puppet. And so these energies of connecting with guides can also come in magical other worlds, connecting with fairies, connecting with mystical creatures, mythical creatures, your stuffed animals, like having a conversation, processing your emotions through that can also be some serious work for us at this time. And before we go deeper into our Virgo Pisces polarity, I'd like to just share with you a few announcements. So my name is Jeff Hinshaw. I am an astrologer. I offer 90-minute MP3 readings from a soul-centered astrological perspective. And in these readings, what happens is we look at your triple tier, your sun, moon, and rising. I break that down for you. We look at each planet in your chart. I give you a date for each planet in your chart for you to more deeply connect with. Then we look at the different aspects going on in your chart, and then we round it all out with a guided meditation for embodied health based off of your birth chart. And then you'll also receive a PDF that has the soul-centered traits for your sun, moon, and rising, also the tarot cards associated with those signs with an explanation. And I also provide for you a list of affirmations for each of your planets in your chart. So it's a lot of information. If you've already received a birth chart reading and you'd like to go deeper with me, I also have options for that too. And you can find that information out at astrologycousins.com. Another announcement I have is I wanted to share with you the work of Diana Stahl. So Diana Stahl is one of my really good friends, and the reason why I'm bringing their offering up to you now is because Diana is a Virgo sun with a Pisces moon. This is the exact placement of what we have going on in the sky right now. And Diana's work with the Akashic Records inspired the meditation today. So Diana is an incredible Akashic Records practitioner. On her website, this is what it says. It says, Diana's work offers subversive and lucid space for healing. It's particularly interested in evolving through shame, death cycles, the inner child, and nature communication. And in 2017, the Akashic Records found her, and she trained with Christina Cross. After 7 months of free sessions, clients asked to start paying her, and she's been seeing clients since. And she is an incredible intuitive mystic, and when I've done readings with her, they've been huge breakthrough moments for me. And she connected me to my loved ones, my teachers, and my masters. And so those 3 layers of spirit that we did in the meditation today was inspired by the work that I've done with Diana. So I wanted to give a shout out to Diana, and also check out her work. It is very timely right now for the Pisces full moon. So if you're wanting to go deeper into these mystical realms of connecting with your guides, I highly recommend Diana's work. I'll put a link to their website in the show notes. So look out for that. Also, Lucy Cottrell is someone I teamed up with. 2 episodes ago, we announced it for the Short Film Adventure Date, a fundraising project, and some of you purchased a raffle ticket for $10 to win with a chance to win a reading with me. Some of you purchased 2 tickets for $15, and so we'll announce the winner of that raffle tomorrow on Instagram. If you are the winner, you will receive an email, and so yeah, that was cool to team up with someone doing that. Cosmic.cousins on Instagram, and also there's a link to sign up for the mailing list in the show notes too, which will have links to everything that I'm talking about. And so at this time, that's all the announcements I have for you today. We'll transition into looking at the tarot cards for Virgo and Pisces. Okay, so we started talking about the hangman a little bit, which is connected to Neptune, the ruling planet for Pisces. So the hangman, we're going to look at with the magician. So the magician is the ruling planet for Virgo, Mercury. And so what do you notice when you look at the magician and the hangman together? This Pisces full moon is coming to us at this time to really invite us to activate from this hangman place. So the hangman is going to be offering advice to the magician here. So the magician is connected to Mercury, and it is this energy of actively using the mind, actively channeling from spirit to manifest. And this is something that's Virgo's doing, right? Is manifesting. So the hangman is really saying to the magician, can you relax the mind? Can you relax the need to manifest, to create? And just fully accept the things that we cannot change or control. And so this reminds me of when I was saying when I got here to New York, what I wanted to do, what I thought I was going to do on the first day was actually bike around the city. It's one of my favorite things to do, but I wasn't able to because of my foot. When we're in a hangman moment is often these times where something's going on with our body or with our mind that we can't possibly be active. So it's only through deep surrender that the grip of the rope loosens. This is what the hangman is offering us. It's so that we can fully relax and come home to ourselves. And so I imagine for the magician, this might feel really uncomfortable at first. This process of release will gift us newfound perspective, though. It will give us an appreciation. And so this manifestation here in the hangman isn't so much about holding a wand up towards the sky and being a conduit for universal energy, but it's rather becoming the witness of how this universe lives within, which is something that Pisces is connecting us to. And so it's in the hangman that we free ourselves from the spiral of our current culture, from the spiral of our day-to-day tasks, which is something that Virgo energy might sweep us up in. And here in the hangman, we just simply watch it all beautifully unfold. We just completely suspend to this time, this place, to our body. And it also awakens us to being of awe in the world around us, finding the magic in the mundane, finding the magic in the daily task, to partake in all of it with a light heart. And we can see that the heart's hanging over the head. And so this is how we can truly heal ourselves. We can also look to the soul growth card for Pisces, which is the moon. And then the soul growth card for Virgo is the hermit. And these two cards go hand in hand together because quite literally the hermit, when you look at these cards together, they're both at nighttime. The hermit is the one who walks the path of the moon. And so on the moon card, you'll see this path that's coming out of water, where you see a crustacean or a crab. And then that path goes through what I like to think of as a coyote and a wolf. Some people say it's a dog and a wolf. Either way, it is this nighttime scene in which you are having to cross the threshold of your fears, of your greatest fears. And in the background, we'll see two towers, which is interesting because we're looking at the World Trade Center's birth chart today, the Twin Towers. But these two towers come to symbolize duality. And so the moon card represents the mysteriousness of myth and archetype. And then the hermit, which is Virgo, is the willingness to show up, to devote yourself to the path. So the moon card is connecting us to how stories transcend time and place. So it's like these deep parts of our soul. And the hermit is saying, but these deep parts are within you. And that you, in your devotion to your spiritual path here on this plane, is connecting you to the spiritual path of all those who have been here. And so for the soul growth here, it's found in the ability to traverse these darker recesses of our soul, to touch base with the source of their sensitivity. So all of this is reminding us here in Pisces Virgo, Virgo, right? Its esoteric ruling planet is the moon. And here, the Pisces soul growth card is the moon. And so it is this very mutable energy to look to a higher lunar feminine power to guide us. If you're moving through a darkness, to guide you towards the light. And then we have the Page of Cups, which is Pisces, mutable water, and then the Page of Pentacles, which is also Virgo, mutable earth. And so imagining these two having a conversation, I said it before, but the Page of Cups really feels like Mr. Rogers to me. This whimsical page energy, it's communing with spirit by talking to a fish. So this card comes to represent what I feel as the more extroverted nature of Pisces. It's like the stream of consciousness, creativity. So calling upon the Page of Cups to reconnect with your most magical and poetic self at this time, and to find that within the material Page of Pentacles, the new projects that you're conceptualizing at this time, finding the magical spiritual components to that. Talking with them as if they're entities. Like I'll talk to the podcast Cosmic Cousins sometimes to see how it's doing and what it wants to do. And so I'm being reminded of that here at the Pisces Full Moon to ask my work, how it wants to create, how it wants to explore and play. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, which is Virgo, and the Queen of Cups, which is Pisces. And this feels like the more introverted parts of Pisces and Virgo to me. Queens are very internal. So the Queen of Cups, we see that she's intensely peering into her chalice, almost like it's a crystal ball or something. And this, she really gives me the Nina Simone feels, Queen of Pisces. And so the waves of the ocean are lapping on her feet, and it's this ocean scene. And so this card comes to represent the wide range of human emotions and the innate psychic receptivity to tune into them, to call upon them. So the Queen of Cups is the desire to connect more deeply with your emotion and with your spirit. And so looking at her with the Queen of Pentacles, who's in this lush forest with a bunny rabbit and is cradling her pentacle, is also reminding us of the deeper spiritual components of the earth realm. And so Virgo, the maiden priestess, is often symbolized by a pregnant woman, which our queen of Virgo, Beyonce, was known for her iconic performance in which she performed 8 months pregnant with her twins. So when you're pregnant, you become this vessel for universal consciousness. Pisces is that polar energy of universal consciousness. It is the unknown realms. It is where we come from before we incarnate here. And so Virgo, Queen of Cups, is acting as this pregnant container for which this Pisces, Queen of Cups energy moves through so that we incarnate here. And then the sign that comes after Pisces, of course, is then Aries, which is that moment of birth. So I have these cards out, and something I like to do for full moon rituals is I'll put the sun and moon cards out like we just did, and then I'll tune into my deck, and then I'll pull 1, 2, 3 more cards. And so I pulled 2 cards for us today. We got the 3 of Wands in reverse, and we got the 9 of Pentacles. And so this immediately made me think of Jupiter in Sagittarius, which is square all of the Virgo planets right now. Sagittarius, mutable fire. Virgo, mutable earth. When 2 signs are in the same modality, they're both immutable, but they're in contradicting elements, earth and fire, what we find is a square. And so this week, it's been at an exact square because they've been at the same degree. And so Jupiter, right, went direct in Leo season. It was retrograde all summer. And so Jupiter in Sagittarius, it entered Sagittarius on November 8th, 2018. This will be really important for Sagittariuses because the ruling planet for Sag is Jupiter. Also Aquarius, the esoteric ruling planet is Jupiter. So these signs really feel Jupiter's energy. But all of us in the collective feel it. And so think back to November 8th, 2018. How were we expanding with optimism at this time? This is right when the election results came out that revealed that a record number of women were elected to the U.S. House and Senate. Boom. Hello, Sagittarius. This is hope and expansion for the future. And so Deb Haaland is a Sagittarius sun, Ilhan Omar is a Sagittarius moon, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a Sagittarius rising. These were all women that were elected. And so now that it's Virgo season, the sun and Jupiter square in the sky, right? Mutable earth meets mutable fire. So what this means for this whole year, 2018, all the way until the end of 2019, is a year of expansion in world travel, a year of cultural understanding, a year of faith when it comes to our studies, the expansion of our minds, expansion of our spiritual practices, our faith, all of this. Jupiter's in Tina Turner right now. So it's big visions for expansion, but it's meeting Beyonce. It's meeting hardworking devotion, attention to details. So it's good. The squares don't always have to be a conflict. They can be. It can bring up these two different sides of yourself. And in conflict, this would be like, well, I had these big dreams for the future, but now I have to work. I wanted to go travel here, but I don't have the money. But on the higher expression for it, Virgo is urging you to make that to-do list so that your big visions for the future can come true, can manifest. Virgo's like, let's manifest this. So Jupiter in Sagittarius says, aim higher. Virgo says, let's make that to-do list and let's do it. And so we have 3 months left of this Jupiter in Sagittarius transit. So gather your resources and keep aiming towards the high vision. I know for me, I really felt that shift of Jupiter going direct. And so look out for it. And then come December 2nd, Jupiter enters the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn. And Jupiter will be in Capricorn throughout 2020. This is considered a detriment. Jupiter does not like being in Capricorn according to traditional astrology because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is restriction, and Jupiter's expansion. But in some ways, what we can look forward to in 2020 is the hope of optimistically expanding the horizons of our most responsible self. My hope for this transit is new, sustainable, long-term visions for our environment and in our government. So it's quite auspicious that Jupiter in Capricorn will be hanging out there all of 2020 as we go into this new election year. And we know Pluto, deep psychological transformation, is in Capricorn, government. Saturn is also in Capricorn, restrictions, but commitment to these things. And then the South Node, deep release with all of these things. So we've got a lot of Capricorn energy coming up, continuing to come up for us in 2020. So Virgo, all this Virgo energy, right, is squaring Jupiter and Sag. So when I looked at these two cards, Two of Wands reversed, it was Three of Wands reversed. Three of Wands shows a figure that's looking out on the horizon. And for me, the Three of Wands is, I actually passed a sign this week when I was walking around the city and it said shipping and receiving. It was at a post office. The Three of Wands feels like shipping and receiving to me. It's things that you're sending out to the world and also things that you're receiving from the world. And so whatever it is that you've been expanding to in this year, your astrological studies, your beliefs, your hopes, your visions for the future, what have you been sending out to the world and how have you been receiving messages back? Nine of Pentacles felt like Virgo energy to me, and Three of Wands felt like Sagittarius. That's why I immediately thought about this square, and that's why I'm sharing it with you now. And so I use the cards. There's so many different things happening in the sky right now that I could talk about anything, but pulling these cards reminded me to talk to you about this. And so Nine of Pentacles, 9, is the same vibrational number as the Hermit. 9, the soul growth card for Virgo. And so this is someone that has been deep in their craft and is enjoying the fruits of their labor. And it's reminding me of Beyonce, our Queen of Virgo, 9 of Pentacles. So let's talk about Beyonce and Nina Simone to understand this polarity. And so Beyonce, Queen of Virgo had a deep calling towards music since the age of 5. And Beyonce has never missed a step, right? She is a perfectionist. She's walked the path of her devotion to the refinement of her craft. And the fruits of her internal self are ripening. And she's our youngest queen of the zodiac. And so she offers her harvest to the world. And so she has this very conceptual, artistic vision. Feels very Virgo, that she's shining a light to all of us to cultivate and nurture our own creative impulses. She's the highest paid Black musician in history, and her body of work at such a young age reminds us of the devotion to our craft. And so I'd like to play a little clip for you now of Beyonce at the age of 16, and there's a lot of Virgo themes in here, and so we'll talk about them.
Hi, my name is Beyonce. Beyonce Giselle Knowles, and I'm 16 years old. I just turned 16 about 4 or 5 days ago. My birthday is September 4th, 1981. I'm a Virgo, and for my birthday, I got my belly button pierced. And what I do in the group, I'm the lead singer, and my role in the group, my personality of the group is the serious one, the mother of the group, the one that try to get everybody in line.
The serious one, the mother of the group. This is the one that's getting everyone in line. All of this feels very Virgo. But more than that, this like serious personality side that Beyonce is sharing with us is that there's also this footage of her at the age of 16 before she was even famous. And Virgo is connected to the energy of the maiden. It's also connected to humility, innocence. And so there's something about her being our youngest queen of the zodiac that feels really important for us to reflect on. And also Nina Simone and the other water queens, Frida Kahlo, Queen of Cancer, Georgia O'Keeffe, Queen of Scorpio. Our water queens are the 3 queens that have passed away from this earthly realm. So there was something when we were meditating on water that we were connected more to those who have deceased. And when we're connecting to Virgo, we crown the one who is the youngest of them all. And so let's keep listening. There's some more stuff in this interview with Beyonce.
My advice is to keep God first. That's the main thing. Keep God first. We go to church every Sunday together, and I think that's what gives this group the bond that we have. Please keep God first and pray every night, and be serious with your prayers. Also, stay humble. I know we're going to stay humble. If you ever meet me and I have a little attitude, just slap me. Just slap me right back into shape. And if you want to do something, put your mind to it. Focus on that one thing. Don't worry about everybody else trying to distract you and keep you far from your dreams, because it's a lot of haters out there and they're going to try to keep you away from your dreams. But don't listen to them. Just focus on what you're trying to do, and I promise you, you're going to get it. If you work hard at it and you keep God first.
If you work hard at it and you keep God first, this humility of Virgo is, and the devotion to a higher power is giving us soul-centered Virgo. It's really beautiful to see. I know that Beyonce, before her performances, will bring all of her dancers together in a circle and lead a prayer. This is what we're doing here during Virgo season and the Pisces full moon. Let's keep tuning into this interview and see what else wants to come up.
My plans for the future, I did produce on some of the album, and I produced on Lil O's album as well. I give a shout out to you, Lil O, what's up? And I do plan on producing, and I plan on, in the future, hopefully getting my own record company and my own production company, and managing like my dad. He manages us, and he does a great job. I love you, Dad.
Can feel that Virgo hard work taking place right there. Beyonce, born September 4th, 1981, is a Virgo sun with a Scorpio moon and a Libra rising. I'm pulling up her birth chart now, and the Libra rising is really strong here. We've got Venus right on the ascendant, so she's waking up to her divine feminine potential as a peaceful expression, Libra, but also social justice, which is something that she has brought and infused into a lot of her later work. She's also got Pluto in Libra, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury in Libra. So she's got a heavy Libra stellium, but nonetheless, she's still shining that Virgo light in the 11th house to humanity, towards community. She's got her Mars in Leo and her North Node in Leo, saying her life's purpose is to use her physical vitality in a creatively expressive way. And that's right up there on the midheaven in the 10th house. So her life's purpose is to put herself out in the public sphere as a physical, vital, creative source of energy that is radiant like the sun. We know that she just did work with the Lion King movie too. So we see that coming into play here. But her midheaven is in Cancer. And so the way that she's holding space in the community is as a mother, is as a nurturer. Her moon in Scorpio allows us to feel into this more mystical side, this more intense side of Virgo. And it's interesting because our Earth Queens, all three of our Earth Queens, are working with water energy. Cher, Queen of Taurus, has a Cancer rising. Beyonce, Queen of Virgo, has a Scorpio moon. And then Michelle Obama has a Cancer North Node and also a Pisces moon, Queen of Capricorn. And so here in Beyonce's chart, Moon in Scorpio is taking us into this depth of human emotion, hanging out with Uranus and Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. So she is intuitively expressing this radical, innovative, repressed parts of the feminine that are connected to sexuality, shadows, and darkness. So Beyonce Knowles is a reverent little girl, a Virgo sun in the shadowy darkness of night, Scorpio moon, ensuring that the revolution will be peaceful, Libra rising, and that's exactly what she's done through her life and work. What's really cool when we look at her and her polar queen, Queen of Pisces, Nina Simone, is that she has often used a lot of Nina Simone's songs and quotes in her work. And she has said that Nina Simone is one of her biggest inspirations. So let's talk a little bit about Nina Simone. Nina Simone, singer, songwriter, pianist, and she was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. She's also noted as an influential activist in the civil rights movement. And her music spans a broad range of musical styles, including classical, jazz, blues, folk, R&B, and gospel. And so I feel so inspired by Nina Simone. Studying her birth chart, listening to all of her incredible songs, it is taking us into the deep well of human emotion, to be sure, and is really transforming deep hurt, deep grief into a devotional prayer for peace. She's actually been what I've been listening to all week when I've been walking around New York, and it is really allowing my time walking around the city to feel really nostalgic, but also romantic. And so Nina Simone is a Pisces sun with a Capricorn moon and an Aquarius rising. And what's really fascinating is when we pull up her chart, which I'm going to do right now, we'll see that she has a mega stellium in Virgo, her polar sign, as well as a lot of planets in Pisces as well. So she, to be sure, is working on this polarity. So she's got Sun, North Node, and Mercury in Pisces in the first house, the house of self-identity. And so her life's purpose, North Node, is to shine a vibrant, healing light, Sun, towards the collective's emotions, Pisces. And she does it in a way that she is very intellectually in tune with that, Mercury. But across, opposing all of this Pisces energy, she's got Neptune in Virgo, Mars in Virgo, and Jupiter in Virgo. Neptune, the ruling planet for Pisces in Virgo, is saying that through her devotion to her craft, she is spiritually fulfilled when she directs her physical vitality towards the perfection of her craft, towards her offering, her humble, holistic offering that is actually giving her a sense of spiritual fulfillment as well. And then Jupiter in Virgo, she is expanding into her ability to be here on this earth and to be a vessel for delivering all of this incredible Pisces energy to us all. Her Scorpio midheaven feels really prominent too. Pluto is the esoteric ruling planet for Pisces. So Pisces, when working with Neptune, if you are a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, meditating on Neptune could make you feel way too Pisces, could make you float off into other realms of consciousness. So it's important for you to understand and know what's going on with Neptune. But for Pisces, it's really beneficial to meditate on the esoteric ruling planet, which is Pluto. And so Pluto is then saying, okay, Pisces, it's not all dreamy and love and rainbows. We're actually going to go into the depth of human emotion here and transform that darkness into light. And so we really, with her Scorpio midheaven, Nina Simone was giving us Neptune, but she's also really giving us Pluto. Her Pluto is in Cancer, indicating that she's part of that generation, right? Pluto is a generation of people. It was during the Great Depression. This was a generation that was transforming what it meant to have family and home. This was the time period where the women's suffrage movement was happening. Women really stepped up to the plate in a big way during this time in the workforce because of the world wars. Pluto in Cancer is a generation of transforming mothers and homes and what that looks like. And so she's activating all of her Pisces energy with this Scorpio midheaven and this Pluto and Cancer energy. And then we can't forget that she's an Aquarius rising radical, to be sure. Saturn in Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, Aquarius rising. She's waking up to her potential, to being an expression of the divine feminine. A lot of our queens, right? Beyonce has Venus rising. Nina Simone has Venus rising. A lot of our queens of the zodiac do have Venus rising. Oprah Winfrey does too. I think like half of the queens do. I'll have to look at that at some point. Having Saturn next to Venus could be restrictions around her divine feminine expression, but she's doing it in a way that's Aquarian. It is a radical expression of the new age, a socially progressive perception of the new age. And so all of that is hanging out in her first house with her sun, North Node, and Mercury in Pisces. Powerful, powerful chart here with Nina Simone. And so look up Nina Simone on Spotify and just play her music during this week and weekend to really feel into the Pisces energy. It's so inspiring. And her ability to channel out consciously through music and universal compassion is so pure in her spirit. And so check that out. Nina Simone is a magical little girl, Pisces sun, in an important business meeting, Capricorn moon, bringing people together in a circle, Aquarius rising. And that's exactly what she's done through her life and work. Deep bow to the spirit of Nina Simone. Okay, so today marks the 18th anniversary of the collapse of the Twin Towers, the World Trade Centers. Nearly 3,000 people died on September 11th in the year 2001, and it marked this huge shift for many of us here in the United States, which also created a ripple effect around the world. And so I thought, in honor of all of those who passed away, and in honor of those who may still be grieving, under this Pisces full moon, we could take a look at the World Trade Center's birth chart and also at the transit chart of what was going on that fateful morning. And so let's pull up that chart now. Okay, so the World Trade Centers were erected on April 4th, 1973 at 3 p.m., Aries sun, Taurus moon, Virgo rising. So when we look at the chart, what we'll see is that Saturn is in Gemini at the top of the chart. It's a Gemini midheaven, which is interesting, right? Gemini are the twins. The way that they hold space in the public is as twins. And they have Saturn in Gemini there. Saturn rules over buildings. So in the 10th house of public appearance is a building that is a twin at the midheaven. Also in the birth chart, they've got Neptune and Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules over world travel. and this is the World Trade Center. And Black Moon Lilith is there too, which means repressed aspects of our modern patriarchal society through world travel and other religions, which we know a little foreshadowing of what was to come. The North Node in this chart is in Capricorn, meaning that the World Trade Center's purpose is to build a future that we can depend on. And having Sun in Aries means that it is number one, right? It's shining a light as number one. And at the time that they were built, the World Trade Centers were the tallest buildings in the world. They also, as a Virgo rising, waking up to their potential to be humble, devoted workers. And the point of fortune is in Virgo as well. We also have Pluto in Libra at the 2nd degree, right at the beginning of this Pluto in Libra transit, a time of deep transformation around social justice, the deep psychological undercurrents of relationship. And then Uranus in Libra, too, is showing innovation and technology through partnership. So when we pull up the transit chart for the World Trade Center, so what we do is we just click transits and then we enter the date, September 11th, right? 2001 at 8:46 a.m. And so immediately what I'm noticing, and when I saw this, I got the chills because Saturn was in Gemini on September 11th, 2001 at the same degree as the Saturn in Gemini in the World Trade Center's, the Twin Towers birth chart. So this was the Saturn return for the World Trade Centers, which happens every 28 to 30 years for everyone. And I've even said, for me, when I moved through my Saturn return, it actually, the way I could describe it was like the Tower card in the tarot. And so we know the Tower card in the tarot is a tower that's being struck by lightning and it's falling to the ground. So quite literally, the Saturn return for the World Trade Centers was happening at this time. But what else was happening when this transit was going on was that Pluto, the generational planet of psychological transformation of the underworld, was in Sagittarius, opposing Saturn. Pluto was in Sagittarius at the 12th degree. Saturn was in Gemini at the 14th degree. So Pluto in Sagittarius was a time period in the collective. This was like 1995 to 2008. Pluto was moving through Sagittarius. This is a time of finding and touching base with the shadow of world religion and cultures at large, and it is known as a time of terrorism. Global terrorism was Pluto in Sagittarius. And so now we're in Pluto in Capricorn. We know Capricorn comes right after Sagittarius, and now we're in a time of transformation in government and patriarchy. And so we're feeling on these bigger cycles of how this Pluto and Sagittarius energy could perhaps have led to our Pluto in Capricorn time. So fascinating. The Saturn return for the World Trade Centers with Pluto opposition to Saturn in Gemini, Pluto in the sign of Sagittarius. But then we got to be like, okay, it's Virgo season. What do we know about Gemini? It's mutable air. What do we know about Pluto and Sag? Sagittarius is mutable fire. Virgo, mutable earth. We got these three earth things. We've got a T-square happening in the sky right here. So, Sun and Virgo were shining a light with service. This is a time in the United States history where the most volunteers ever step forward. Virgo rules over volunteer services. So this light that we're shining is squaring the restriction we're feeling in Gemini around communication, but also trade, twins, restriction with twins, and then the transformation that we're feeling with world travel and religion and other philosophies. Another thing that's important to note is that Chiron was in Sagittarius on September 11th, 2001, hanging out with Pluto. Chiron is deep wounds. So now it's deep psychological healing around wounds that are about the world at large, religion and philosophies at large. And then the nodes of fate. This is interesting because the nodes of fate during this September 11th tragedy are the same nodes of fate we have now. And so it was North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. So releasing structures, we quite literally released this structure, these two towers, and going towards home and family. And I do know that during this time is where a lot of people came together in a really big way. This was also when Neptune was in Aquarius, Neptune spirituality through the internet, and Uranus is innovation, that's in Aquarius too. So when looking at this chart, it's so fascinating now to look back, because I remember I was in 8th grade when this happened, and I know many of you have memories of September 11th, and so reconnect to those during this Pisces full moon, and know that here in New York, in the morning, this morning, families and communities gathered at ground zero. And so there was an outpouring of grief, as always. And the rhythm of the names being recited was very cathartic. And so, again, 18 years have passed since the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center were brought down on their Saturn return. And the commemoration at ground zero is becoming this ritual moment of silence. It's every year at 8:46 a.m. on September 11th, we take a moment of silence. And so to the spirits of the World Trade Center, to all of those who lost their life on this day, we're sending you love and prayers. And so here under this Pisces full moon, let's take a moment of silence now, directing our loving attention towards world peace. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to the show and for being here for yourself, carving out this time in your life. If you'd like, you could leave a 5-star review, or leave whatever star review you want, but 5 stars would be appreciated. Share this with a friend, family member, loved one who you think might benefit from it. Send love to all your Pisces friends, your Pisces suns, Pisces moons, your Pisces risings. Leave some comments on the show. This is a comment that came through. This is from, well, their name says A8A8P8. So this comes from them. And it says, "This is my go-to podcast for tuning into the energies of the astrological seasons. I love the way Jeff blends astrology, tarot, and pop culture into a teaching format. Brilliant." And I love doing that too. I think it's a fun way to integrate them all together. And I'm happy that it resonates with many of you. And so reach out, let me know how you're enjoying the show. It's always nice to hear from you. And next time we gather, our next episode for the Libra New Moon in a few weeks, it will be our 2-year anniversary episode of the show. And so it's going to be a special episode recounting our time together over the past 2 years. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, sign up for the newsletter if you'd like more information. astrologycousins.com to book a reading. cosmic.cousins on Instagram. Yeah. Happy Pisces full moon, and I'll see you next time. Take sweet care, cousins, and remember, deep breaths.